Welcome to The World in Social. I'm Chris Rieger with your look at the week in social media news, thanks to our podcast partner, Social News Desk, powering social media for over 1,500 newsrooms on 5 continents. Find out more at socialnewsdesk.com. Coming up in this edition, Twitter introduces measures to tackle trolls. Specsavers seize the moment following Oscars mix-up. F1 eases social media restrictions on the track for test. A typo to blame for part of the internet breaking. Finalists announced for the 9th annual Shorty Awards, recognising the best in social media. And later in the podcast, I'm joined by my special guest Brendan Wood, social media manager for 7 News Sydney. We'll find out how he transitioned from radio to television and get his thoughts on what he considers great content. But first, Twitter is taking steps to reduce abusive behaviour on the platform by restricting the account of users it suspects are doing the wrong thing. It's a little bit like being sent to the naughty corner. Those caught engaging in abusive behaviour will now have their tweets limited to only those following. The restrictions last for a set period of time. If it's a first offence, 12 hours. The countdown begins when users hit continue. Twitter maintains it's not putting people in time out for using specific words or politically incorrect language, but rather looking at an account's behaviour over a period of time. Other new anti-harassment features announced this week include the ability to mute specific words, including other usernames, from your timeline, not just notifications. You can mute words indefinitely, or for a day, a week, or even a month. You can also mute accounts that have no profile pictures, confirmed email addresses or phone numbers, which should go a long way to weeding out trolls. Twitter is trying to communicate more of the things it's doing, including notifications if Twitter takes action after a harassment report, whether you report abuse that has happened to you or to another user. The company's VP of Engineering, Ed Ho, says making Twitter a safer place is their primary focus, and they're now moving with more urgency than ever. Some say it's about time. The Oscars were trending in Australia late Monday afternoon, but not in a positive way. Social media lit up after La La Land was incorrectly named Best Picture. In case you missed it,
I want to tell you what happened. I opened the envelope, and it said, Emma Stone, La La Land. That's why I took such a long look at Faye and at you. I wasn't trying to be funny.
Well, you were funny.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Wow, this is
Moonlight, the best picture.
Yeah.
it led to some brilliant reactions on social media. The memes were flying around thick and fast. From I'm praying for Warren Beatty to come back and tell us that Hillary actually won, to I'm about to become a meme. Both CNN and USA Today were also caught out hitting the tweet button before realising there'd been a mix-up. It led to some clever social media marketing from Specsavers, uploading an image of a hand holding a blurry card with the caption, "You'd have to be living in La La Land to get this wrong. Hashtag Oscars, hashtag should have gone to Specsavers." And although we know it was the wrong envelope and not an eyesight issue that led to the stuff-up, it still resulted in hundreds of comments, shares and thousands of likes in a short space of time. A perfect example of seizing the moment. Accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers has since apologised for the bungle. Earlier this week, Formula One teams were given the okay to film and upload short videos to their social media accounts as new F1 owner Liberty Media looks to grow the sport's popularity online. Previously, the commercial rights holder has placed tight restrictions on broadcasting video filmed from inside the paddock. The easing of restrictions applies only for the first week of testing. Driver Lewis Hamilton, who was vocal about the rules, has 3.8 million followers on Instagram and 4.2 million on Twitter. You can understand why he's keen to see the rules relaxed. You might have noticed your favourite website or app not working properly earlier this week after Amazon's S3 cloud service was brought down, by a typo nonetheless. According to a statement on the website, the team was debugging an issue causing the S3 billing system to progress more slowly than expected. At 9:37 a.m. PST, an authorised S3 team member using an established playbook executed a command which was intended to remove a small number of servers for one of the S3 subsystems that is used by the S3 billing process. Unfortunately, one of the inputs to the command was entered incorrectly, and a larger set of servers was removed than intended. Oops. Amazon says they're making several changes as a result. S3 provides hosting for images for a lot of sites and apps, over 148,000 websites and more than 121,000 unique domains. The finalists for the 9th Annual Shorty Awards have been revealed. The Shorty Awards honour the best of social media by recognising the influencers, brands and organisations on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, Instagram, Snapchat, Vine and a whole lot more. Past winners include Taylor Swift, Neil Patrick Harris, Michelle Obama, J.K. Rowling and Lorde. Winners are chosen through a combination of votes from the public and scores given by the Real Time Academy and will be announced on Sunday, April 23 in New York City. The full list can be viewed at theworldinsocial.com. Well, the wait is over for Nintendo fans who can finally get their hands on the new Switch system. And for players who want to share gameplay experiences with their Facebook friends, Facebook has made its popular login feature available. You'll be able to connect your Facebook account and share screenshots of your favourite in-game moments. Nintendo Switch is available now and will set you back in Australia around $469. Happy gaming.
The World in Social, thanks to Social News Desk, powering social media for over 1,500 newsrooms on 5 continents. Find out more at socialnewsdesk.com.
Joining me now on The World in Social is probably one of the busiest men in social media I know, Brendan Wood. He has a long career in media, mostly as a breakfast radio producer, having worked on shows in Sydney and Brisbane. So how did he make the switch to TV and land his current role as social media manager for 7 News Sydney? He joins me now to talk about that. Brendan, welcome to The World in Social.
Mate, what a big intro.
Did you like sort of build that up now?
Yeah, that's
we better
right.
live up to it. How did you land the role at 7 News Sydney?
When I was at Triple M in Sydney, I was with the Grill team, and we sort of saw social media for them as an opportunity to market the radio show, which at the time was a new radio show in Sydney, particularly when Matty Johns came on board to try and market that radio program via social media, because billboards are costly and TV commercials are costly. And whenever you're in radio, particularly capital city radio, all you hear is breakfast shows and talent whinging about, when are we going to have another TVC, or when are we going to have another billboard, or advertising on buses and stuff like that. And they don't come around that often because radio really doesn't want to spend a lot of money on marketing when the best marketing is possibly their transmitter, or in this case nowadays, their best marketing is the free advertising they get via social media. So just while I was there, I was just sort of tinkering around with social media. I liked it, and then I just put a call into a couple of people. One of them was Channel 7, because I thought I wanted to work at Channel 7. I saw that Channel 7 at the time had a lot of opportunities for social media in regards to, I didn't think they were doing it very well with social media, and I thought I'd love to get in there and just
fix it.
have a go. And within weeks I had a job at working for 7 News Sydney in their newsroom, and I'm having a go. And the numbers sort of speak for themselves at the moment in regards to the impact we're having in Sydney. And I sort of came here under the radar. I sort of didn't tell any friends at Channel 9 I was coming, or 10, or wherever they might have worked, because I just wanted to quietly just chip away at possibly building something for 7 News. And we're doing that at the moment, which is good.
And it's grown quite a bit since you first came on board, hasn't it?
When I arrived, we had the 7 News Sydney Facebook page had low engagement, had about 120,000 people who'd liked the page, and then by just chipping away and producing good content and doing what Facebook wants, we've now got it to over 1 million people. We actually ticked over 1 million with about 2 hours to go on 2016. So at 10 o'clock on the 31st of December 2016, we hit 1 million.
Wow.
And that was a nice little sort of closure to the year. I was by myself partying in the newsroom that night, actually. And likewise, we've done what Twitter wants on Twitter. And people ask me still now, they go, oh, is Twitter dead? Twitter's not dead. We've managed to build our Twitter account with real people from about 30,000 likes or followers on the Twitter account. We're now up around just over 250,000. And the way we've done that is by tapping into various niches and hashtags. So the one big niche I'd noticed we had a lot of success with was the Ozpol people, who love following federal politics, would jump in on that. And the other thing too was just consistency in how frequently you post and what we post. So, And you were part of it actually, Chris, because I know I employed you on the side when you were working in radio in Geelong. I got you to work every day from 4:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m.
Yes, that was a lot of fun getting up at that hour of the morning.
Sorry about that, but it was good, Chris, because we had you in there for about a year, and you were putting content on Facebook and Twitter and all that from 5 a.m. every day when our first news bulletin would roll out, and I always said that there were thousands of people up that time of the day going to work on trains and buses, and they were getting nothing from 7 News when I first arrived. So
I actually used to be quite surprised at some of the reach. You'd post something at 4:30 in the morning, and then by 7 you'd go, wow.
And then when you'd be at Geelong, being a radio star, at like lunchtime or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, some of those posts would go to like 200,000 people. And that, for us, is a great marketing
I think
tool
one of my most successful posts, just quietly, was one about an Australian firm who were exporting cans of air to China, which racked up quite a lot of views in a very short amount of space.
And you know what? That one still ticks over. And I always say, whenever anybody works on our Facebook page or Twitter account, I go, just be aware that, yes, you're posting news for today, but even myself, I'm dead and buried, those posts will be still online and be searchable through Facebook or Google or whatever. And, it's almost like your legacy, will remain with the company even though you're no longer here. But thank you very much for posting that.
Oh, look, no worries.
The bottles of air post.
Now, you were talking about content before. What do you consider to be good content for Facebook and Twitter?
Okay, so what it is, if you think about it from a user point of view, so if you're using Twitter, Instagram or Facebook, it's like, well, what do you want from that brand, whether it's Lad Bible or whether it's a radio show or whether it's 7 News or not or whatever. And then I just give it to them in heaps. So, for example, in Sydney, stuff that we weren't doing that we're now doing now, there's a 2-car or a 6-car pile up on the M4, and the M4 is now blocked heading city-bound. Or there's been a shooting in Chester Hill, which it was last night. So we'll obviously put our breaking news up. We're also putting up video. People prefer video on Facebook, and that's pretty obvious. A lot of people know that. They also like Facebook Live as well, and that's more because Facebook's pushing it in the Facebook newsfeed, so we give them a lot of that. They like photo galleries. They like to see what's happening in and around Sydney. It's all about it's localism from our point of view. Yep. So all of our state-based 7 News pages are extremely local. And we make sure that we give people lots of local news and information. My wife did roll over to me, though, about 3 or 4 months ago, and she goes, Brendan, can you do things like things happening this weekend in Sydney, like activities and fetes and fairs and stuff like that? And I'm going, that means I've got to do a lot of work, and we don't. If we could, we'd do it. I would love that super local sort of stuff, on Facebook and Twitter. But it's a matter of time and a matter of staffing it and all that. So yeah.
Now tell me, how do you deal with trolls?
Yeah, okay, moderate. The thing is, the back end of my time in radio, it was a big thing in Southern Cross Austereo. How are we going to, you'd put the post up and then you'd spend up to 12 hours or more, moderating posts and stuff like that. The thing we do here at Channel 7 is we never... well, first of all, we've changed the comments section. Instead of it being in chronological order, we put the most engaging comment at the top of our Facebook post. And what that does, if somebody does come in and they're a horrible troll and they tell somebody that I hope you die, you'll generally find that that'll surface itself straight to the top. So straight away it saves us a lot of time in regards to moderation. We can see those awful comments, rising to the top in the comment section, and we can, deal with it from there. Now, we never delete comments made by any, viewers, but we might hide them if we think that everyone's allowed to have their opinion. So, we put all the extreme opinions up there. But if the ones we'll hide are people who will say things like, you can go and get effed. It's like they're not contributing to, I think what is a Facebook environment you want to have for a brand like ours. I remember Fitzy at Triple M, the head of the Triple M network, he talks about people coming in and trashing your front window on your shop, by making ridiculous comments, outrageous comments in your Facebook posts. And I tend to agree with that. I will say this, I tend to find, like, I don't know if you've ever done a Facebook Live on a big page, which we do all the time. Facebook Lives go straight to the top of people's news feeds. The comments are huge, and, like, you just get a massive volume of them. They come from all around the world. There's no way you can keep on top of it until you actually finish the Facebook Live and then just see what the feedback is. Have I, just to answer your question again, have I hidden anyone's comments today? No, because there's been none to hide. I think I might have hid maybe 2 or 3 yesterday. So it's not as if I sit there moderating all day and I'm hiding stuff. What I've found is a lot of those trolls have been trolled out of Facebook or trolled away from Twitter. And it's a lot more pleasant sort of environment than what it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yep.
The thing about Twitter, though, with the founders and the co-founders, they're all about freedom of speech. So I think they've been less reluctant to sort of head into that environment that Facebook has done an excellent job with in recent years. And Instagram also does a good job with it all as well.
Well, Brendan, I've probably taken up enough of your time, but quickly before I leave you, where do you see the future of social media? I mean, it's obviously only going to keep growing. Do you think there'll ever come a time where any platform will overtake Facebook? Do you think Twitter, we're going to see Twitter drop off?
Very good.
Something new going to come along?
I watched the way Mark Zuckerberg operates, and I think he's going to be the ruler of social media for at least the next 15 to 20 years, because he's sometimes he actually does some Facebook Lives on his Facebook account where he gets the interns to come in and do a 5-minute presentation each of a great new tool or a great new addition you can make to Facebook. So the thing is, it's almost like on a weekly basis he's continually improving Facebook to be bigger and better than what it is. There's been a book recently written about how Google tried to take down Facebook when Facebook was growing about 7 or 8 years ago, and Facebook fought back and beat them. Google went and started Google Plus, and it's like Google Plus got left very much behind, and Facebook sort of took off. But I think at the moment, this is where I think it'll go with social media. You'll see that these live streams will continue to be at the forefront of the success of social media. You've seen it with Instagram Stories Live just recently. You've seen it with Periscope. They're doing some good stuff as well at the moment, which I think that the average user on Twitter will see a lot more of what Periscope's doing at the back end of this year. But the big one, which is the big sleeper at the moment, is messenger bots, or just bots in general working. There are like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people working in Silicon Valley trying to come up with these amazing bots, that can do things, machine learning they call it, that can do things for consumers and customers without, rows and rows of call centers having to do it all. So, for example, within Facebook Messenger, there are some great bots in there at the moment. So if you want to book an airline ticket in the US, you can just dial up, some airlines, not all airlines are doing it, but you can just go in and just book your flight via your Facebook Messenger, and you get a message back straight away saying, yes, here's your receipt, you're ready to go, just show your Facebook Messenger, and on you get onto the flight. And, it's obviously linked in with your credit card. So I want us to do a lot more with Messenger type apps here at 7 News, and there's ways we can work around it. I don't know if you've seen here in Australia, but you see ABC News, you can sign up to like a news alert.
That was only launched last year, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and we've explored that as well. It's highly complicated to set up that alert system. At the moment. You need developers and everything on board, and then that has me knocking on the boss's door saying, I want you to spend more money, and this is what we can do. So, and they need to make a judgment on whether or not we want to spend all that money and get that up. But I think Facebook, for example, and other companies, it's not just Facebook doing it, I think they're about maybe 18 months to 2 years away to making it a lot more friendly to create, bot usage by organisations like us. At the moment, you need to employ 2 or 3 developers to get it up and have it to a stage that it looks pretty friendly to use. But I think it's like in a beta stage, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So we're in a beta stage in bots and messengers at the moment, but I think that's where we're going to head.
All right, I'll let you get back to it, because I know how busy you are, and there's probably some breaking news that you've just missed in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, thanks for that.
And that's all for this edition of The World in Social. You'll find all these stories and more on our website at theworldinsocial.com. I'm Chris Rieger. Join me next week as we explore the world in social media, thanks to Social News Desk, powering social media for over 1,500 newsrooms on 5 continents. Find out more at socialnewsdesk.com.